everyone. Just want to let you know we'll be starting in 10 minutes. So there's your 10-minute warning.
Having fun yet? the mask, stop burning the flag, and start burning the mask.
Attention everyone, we have about a 2-minute warning before we begin, so 2 minutes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Doug Drake, and welcome. Hot enough for you out here? Anybody? Please, if you could come forward. If you have trouble listening or having trouble hearing me, please come towards the front of the stage. Thank you. And I'd like to invite Nanette Macrower to the stage to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And the flag, as you see, the glorious flag is right here for you all to see. Thank you.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Nanette. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, I also want to give all the police, let's give them a wonderful round of applause for all that they've done for us. Excellent. Yes, they've done amazing things, so thank you. Now, our first speaker today is former Arizona Sheriff Richard Mack. Former Arizona Richard Mack, a fourth-generation Arizonan, was the first sheriff in American history to sue the federal government, the Clinton administration no less. And he won a landmark case at the U.S. Supreme Court. Sheriff Mack is the author of 8 books about individual liberty and the need to return to our sacred Constitution. He is the founder and president of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, CSPOA.org. Please, ladies and gentlemen, Sheriff Mack.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I do want to talk a little bit about my Supreme Court case because it really hits to the core of what we're talking about here today. Did somebody say louder? Boy, howdy. Okay.
Hold it close to your mouth.
I will hold it here. Okay, but thanks so much for being here. I grew up in Arizona, as you well know, and I still can't believe it was this hot when I was a kid. Oh my gosh. You know, I sued the Clintons, and you want to know the real miracle there? I lived to tell about it. Yeah. So, I actually brought a copy of the case, so just so you know what we're really talking about. But I want to make something known to you that maybe you did not hear. Have you heard of Barber Carl Menke from Michigan? He just won his case last week against dictator Gretchen Whitmer, and in a 7-0 unanimous decision by the state Supreme Court, both Democrat and Republican, said, get this what they said, it is incumbent on the courts to ensure decisions are made according to the rule of law. That's why we are here today. We want the rule of law restored and respected by the city of Scottsdale. But guess what they say? According to the rule of law, not hysteria. Oh. One only hopes that this great principle, essential to any free society, including ours, will not itself become yet another casualty of COVID-19. If I could just a minute take you back to the foundation of America and our founding fathers, and I have to ask, do we know what they said about the proper role of government? Do we know what they said is the purpose of all government? It is not to feed me or to take care of me or to make sure my wife and I are healthy. Their job is, quote, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. And then the United States Constitution requires that every public official, every peace officer, every sheriff, every city councilman, every member of the city council, the governor, that must swear an oath by law, by the supreme law of the land, to uphold, defend, protect, and preserve the United States Constitution. I'm asking now, how many people that work in government in Arizona keep that oath and keep their word? I will quote Sheriff Mark Lamb from Pinal County. I will not arrest people for this. I will not cite people for this. And then even better, we must get back to our Constitution. Wow. Yeah. Do you realize that no one in this state or in this country has any authority whatsoever to set aside liberty, to set aside the Constitution, to set aside God-given rights? They have no authority to do that. If the city council of Mesa and Tempe and Scottsdale and whoever else wants to do that here, if they, Phoenix too, if they understood this one principle, that we cannot do this, and then on the other hand still do it, is there anything they can't do? Are there any limitations on government? Both the Arizona and the U.S. Constitution put very strict limitations on government officials, and that's why they have to swear this allegiance to the Constitution. My dear friends, we do have a pandemic in America and in Arizona, but it's not the coronavirus. The pandemic is one of universal corruption. The pandemic is one of the destruction of our Constitution. We destroy our Constitution, we destroy America. And everybody that makes the excuses as to why we get to do this, oh, we'll be safer. You want a government that believes it's their job to violate and destroy everything that made our lives great, destroy our jobs, destroy our economy, and then say, but we did it for your own good. That's not their business. It's not their job. Now I want you to hear a quote from the Mack Prince. Sheriff Prince was the other sheriff that went with me to the United States Supreme Court. You're not going to believe this. In that case, look it up later if you want, or go to my website and get this little booklet. It costs a couple of bucks, but this is the point. In that decision, Justice Antonin Scalia, remember him? Justice Scalia wrote the decision for the majority, and he said this, quote, "But the Constitution protects us from our own best intentions." And then he went on to say, this is an amazing decision, you guys. He said, "It protects us from the crisis of the day," end quote. So, if we bow down and kiss the ring of the dictators in this country now, it will never stop. We never violate individual liberty and the principles that made us a country and which hold us together as Americans. We cannot violate that, or we destroy everything that made us a country in the first place. My dear friends, America has a rule book. We all agreed that we would follow the Constitution. And every one of your peace officers and every one of the people that you're here to talk to today have said that they would uphold and defend the Constitution. If they can't keep that oath, if they refuse to keep that oath, and if they refuse to be the representative and leader they swore to us that they would be, they should leave office. Okay? I'm really not here to debate all the contradictions from Fauci and Birx and the CDC and who. I'm not. But I have talked to an internationally known immunologist, and he told me face to face, a mask is worse than not having one. Okay? His name is Dr. Rashid Buttar. You've seen him on YouTube. Okay? And Americans, humans, are not supposed to be breathing in what they breathe out, carbon dioxide. Okay, folks? So let's just leave it at that, that all their excuses for forcing us into this little cocoon of behavior is wrong, immoral, unconstitutional, and almost downright criminal. And so I would go with this. One other thing. I went down in history as the only person to ever sue Bill Clinton on a non-sexual matter. And as we stand for freedom as fellow Arizonans and fellow Americans, let us remember the immortal words of William Wallace. Freedom!
Wow, wonderful. Thank you. Sheriff Mack, thank you very much. Well, next we are pleased to introduce Daniel McCarthy. He is running for U.S. Senate. Daniel believes in individual liberties and limited government. He is ready to work for you. Please welcome him to the stage. Daniel McCarthy, here you go.
Why do we have to keep on meeting under these circumstances? My name is Daniel McCarthy. I'm running for United States Senate. We are taking our government back. We don't have a choice anymore. Let me give you some facts. They said that our first case was in November. That's a universally recognized thing, that a first case was in November. They told us that the spread rate was 3 people. So if I have it, I give it to 3 people. Those 3 people give it to 3 people, which means 9, which goes to 27. If you do this math, this is basic math. I know we don't learn that anymore in schools. But if you did this basic math, by the time March happens, by the time the shutdowns begin, half of the world's population would have been infected with this virus. There's something more going on here. You can feel it in your gut, can you not? Let me read this to you. The reason to do this. Why is the CDC recommending that people wear cloth masks in public? Let me repeat this. Why is it the CDC is recommending that people wear cloth masks in public? Answer, the reason to do this, even though they're not quite the same as medical masks, is that they do have the same level of efficiency. They are not only a way for decreasing breathing in the virus, primarily through large respiratory droplets, but also, you ready for this? They are a behavioral reminder that there's a pandemic. Hey, last time I checked, we didn't ask the government to give us behavioral reminders. This is a violation against our First Amendment rights, our Fifth Amendment rights, our Ninth Amendment rights. Our 14th Amendment rights. The time for talk is over. Let me tell you what we're engaged in here, and most of you probably know this by now, but let me just give you a reminder. We are now in the United States in the midst of an actual war. This is the most sophisticated and complex war the United States has ever fought, but we are going to win, mark my words. Patrick Henry said something. He said, give me liberty or give me death. People say, well, Daniel, it's just a mask. It's just a mask. So you're going to tell me that I've got to put my 16-year-old son with a face covering on? I don't think so. Are you guys going to allow your children to be covered? Are you going to allow your grandchildren to be covered? This is a communist insurrection that's going on our ground right now. I got to tell you, the last thing I want to do is talk for too long in this sun. Now, you guys know what we're dealing with here. We have to be smart. We have to be smarter than the other side. What I need you guys to do is understand, I get asked one question more so than anything else. What are we going to do about it, Daniel? What are we going to do? All around the state, I've done over 60,000 miles across the state. And the question I keep on getting is, Daniel, what do we do? I'm going to tell you what you do. On August 4th, there's a primary. And I know you've been lied to. I know you've had politicians tell you all that you want to hear. I've been lied to. I'm not doing this for the pay. I won't take the paycheck. I'm not doing this for the pension. I need you to do me a favor. On August 4th, when that Republican primary happens, and now, by the way, there's only 100 voting places rather than 500. Did you guys see that? Yeah. Okay, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to tell everybody on August 4th that Washington, D.C. doesn't control our Arizona Senate seats any longer. Okay? But not just for me. I need you to find every constitutional, grassroots conservative and get behind them and send them to office. Okay? We need to exhaust every legal option possible. There's lawsuits going around. We need to get after these lawsuits. We need to fill up our elected officials with true constitutionalists. We have to do everything in our power to take back our government. We have to exhaust every legal option possible. Because let me tell you what, and I'm going to say this to you guys, I know you all feel the same way. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. DemandDaniel.com. I need your support, please. We've got to finish this off. We've got to win this election. I need your guys' help. But please, let's just say something to Scottsdale. I'm going to say something, okay? I'm going to ask you guys a question. I need you to yell to Scottsdale and tell them, okay? I'm going to ask you, are you going to wear a mask? And you just yell no, okay? And say it nice and loud. I'm going to ask you a few different questions. You'll know the answers, I promise. This is a simple pop quiz, okay? Are you guys going to wear a mask alone in the car? Are you going to wear a mask while you're riding your bike down the road? No! Are you going to allow the government to tell you you have to wear a mask? No! The time is now. It's time for action. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. Now, please, we would like to welcome Michelle Ugenti-Rita. Please come forward. She is running for Arizona Senate. Please give her a big round of applause. Michelle.
Okay, thank you. I am currently in the Senate, but that's not why I'm here today. First, thank you for having me, freedom and liberty lovers. Yes, I stand here today in solidarity with you. And you've got it. I've been fighting for this district in the state for a long time. And I'm not here to tell you whether to wear a mask or not to wear a mask. That's not what has offended me and why I think many of you are out here. But you have been cut out of the process. Your voice has been silenced. The outcome may not be what you like, it may be what other people like, but you didn't have an opportunity to express yourself. Was this decision made in the legislature, in committee? No, it was not. Did they post a meeting requirement and invite the public? No, they did not. No, they did not. Did they have relevant stakeholders come in? Did they do small groups? Did they travel the state and reach out to you? No, they did not. And when the city imposed this mandate, did they call email. What did they do? Did they have a council meeting? No, they didn't. The Board of Supervisors, they met in executive session. That's because they're afraid. They're afraid, and I can't tell you enough that we are on a slippery slope. This is about it's a top-down approach. Nothing ever good comes of that. We have to rally like we're doing peacefully. I want to first of all thank the crowd. Look at well-organized, peaceful. Everyone's peaceful and respectful. This is a manifestation of people who are exercising their freedoms in the proper way because we want to be a part of the solution. We do. We care about our health. Of course we do. We care about our well-being and our family, but how are we able to express ourselves when we are subject to mandates that we don't have the ability to have input in? We can't. And that breeds frustration. It breeds resentment. And it doesn't really breed confidence and make people want to comply. So today, I stand with you, and hopefully those who have imposed this mandate realize that there's a swath of people that feel unrepresented. They want to be heard, they want to be taken seriously, and we need more of this. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you very, very much. Now, time to get a little educated, everyone. If you aren't already, I'm sure a lot of you know a lot, but here's somebody to actually give us even more incredible information. Dr. Steinmetz is a research neurologist who specializes in the statistical analysis of biomedical and neuroscience data. Dr. Steinmetz received his MD and PhD in biomedical engineering from the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. He has been an associate professor of biomedical engineering and presently serves as the chief scientist for the Nortec Brain Research Institute, which he founded. He has a strong interest in the use of science in policy decisions and their implications on liberty. Please welcome Dr. Steinmetz.
Well, thank you for that kind introduction. And you can't hear me? No? Okay. All right, can you hear me now? All right. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow citizens. And thank you, Councilman Phillips, for inviting me to talk about some of the scientific facts regarding general public the general public wearing cloth masks to reduce the impact of COVID-19 and the political implications of those facts. And this is, in fact, a critical question for our country right now. I mean, COVID-19 is a pandemic of a serious respiratory illness, and because many of the interventions proposed deal with it, have very serious civil rights consequences, and things like mandating state solutions. So I think we need to consider this very carefully. And because of the mandates being imposed by many citizens, a key question becomes, does the general public wearing cloth masks actually slow down or reduce the spread of COVID-19? I mean, this is a very serious scientific question. Now, there's a lot of opinions on this. I know what the opinion of most of the people here is, okay? But there are, frankly, a lot of opinions. And oftentimes, that's because the science on this is, frankly, evolving and is unclear at this point, okay? There is no clear answer. That's often the case when you find a lot of serious people saying, I have a very different opinion than someone else. Now, at first blush, it seems pretty obvious that a mask should help, right? It keeps the virus from being expelled in the environment and at the people near you. It seems that should reduce infection, right? Okay. And that is a very simple causal theory about what might be going on with masks, and it has a certain appeal. And I think the people who are not like you, but who think that everybody should be masked, say, well, this is really obvious. But there are a lot of potential confounding factors when we get into this question, okay? And we need to basically examine the evidence pretty clearly here Because people may do things like when they're wearing a mask, they may decrease the amount of social distancing that they're otherwise engaging in and actually increase the spread of the virus, thus causing a harm. So how do we look at this if we're serious about the science? Well, I think for the general public, if you're serious about the science, what you want to do is look at the reviews, the scientific reviews. There's over 100 papers already in preprint form on the question of cloth mask wearing by the general public. They examine a whole bunch of different issues. How do we interpret this all if we're not professional scientists? We look at reviews where scientists look at all the evidence together and they try to come to some conclusions. There are 4 reviews that are presently in preprint form. Okay? One of them says, oh, the evidence is clear. Yes, we should tell the public to wear cloth masks. Another says, no, 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 definitely not. There's not enough evidence to tell the public to wear cloth masks. One says, maybe it could work, but likely there'll be limits on compliance, which cause it to perhaps not have its beneficial effect. And the other says, not enough evidence to recommend masks per se, but, you know, maybe there's no harm in recommending using them in addition to the other measures. Now, I don't know about you. I call that a very mixed set of evidence. This is what the professional scientists are telling us. It's about 50-50. If you ask me my professional opinion about that evidence, I'd say, comme ci, comme ça, right? Okay? So, what does that mean? This is also reflected in some recent publications. Some of you know about this New England Journal of Medicine study, which looked at masking in hospitals. And what they said right at the start in the introduction was, we know that wearing a mask outside healthcare facilities offers little, if any, protection from infection. Okay? Now, this was subsequently clarified by the authors, I suspect, after an uproar within the medical community, to say, we therefore strongly support the calls of public health agencies for all people to wear masks when circumstances compel them to be within 6 feet of others for sustained periods of time. Okay, so the original article was about hospitalization, but look, these guys are coming to a mixed conclusion too. Another recent article in Health Affairs made a direct comparison of the states with and without mask mandates back in April and May, and they found that maybe there's a 2% difference in the reproduction number, which is this number that was talked about earlier about how rapidly one case of COVID-19 gives rise to another, a 2% difference. Okay, there's a lot of confounding factors in that study. We don't even really know if that actually is the effect of the mask mandate. Okay, and consequently, even the authors of that study themselves concluded that the general public wearing masks might help reduce the spread of COVID-19. It's all very mixed messages.
Very speculative.
Okay, so reasonable people, right? Reasonable people and scientists might disagree on whether wearing cloth masks will overall do harm or good. I think that's the conclusion. Reasonable people can disagree on this. And it's not just a question of the cost versus, say, the cost of wearing a mask versus the potential benefit. There's also potential harms of wearing masks that have to be weighed into this equation. I view this as creating a legitimate conflict of opinions, okay? And that leads to reasonable conflicts of interest amongst the parties. And one of the reasons we have a legal system and we have a constitution, okay, and we have a Bill of Rights is to specify essentially how those are resolved by an appeal to coercion, okay, which is what the government is in the business of doing, let's face it, okay? So, all of us here, I think, would agree that it's better that we have a legal system, we have people, third parties adjudicating disputes, okay? So what does this mixed evidence imply in terms of what such a system should do? And I think the answer is clear. Okay, my iPad just overheated, so I'll just have to talk. I think next time I'm going to print out, by the way. But I think the answer is clear, right? That when you have mixed evidence like this, it does not make a strong implication for public policy, okay? It does not say that we should be using coercion to make our fellow citizens agree with us, okay? We should be trying to use persuasion if we think we're right, and they should use their independent thought, okay, in order to make their own decisions, okay? Now, we are going to have to stop this, okay? Because if you think about this, this is an ever-increasing small set of excuses and reasons to tell people what to do and use the coercive power of government, okay, to boss people around, right? Okay? It's for our own good. Okay, but the evidence is mixed. Okay, even the scientists are telling us that this is about a 50-50 shot that wearing a cloth mask might help you. It also might hurt you. Okay, why are we using coercion under such dubious circumstances? And my position is it's fine for the scientists to debate this. We should spend as much, we should change our approach here, okay? We should spend the resources that we're going to have to spend worrying about cloth mask mandates to do better research on what is really the reproduction nature of this virus. How do we prevent its spread? We should shelter the people who are really vulnerable. As you may recall, the death rate from this, the best estimates of the infectious death, infection fatality rate now are between 0.2 and 0.3%, okay? This is a somewhat dangerous virus. It's about 2 to 3 times more likely to kill you than the seasonal flu, okay? But at the same time, this isn't the end of the world, okay? We let people with the seasonal flu make their own decisions. Do I want to get a vaccine, okay? Do I want to avoid going to see my grandma when I have the flu? Okay, these are all individual decisions that we should be allowed to make, you know? Right, and protect the people who are vulnerable. That's where we should be expending our resources, better research, protecting the vulnerable. We should not be doing things like trying to mandate the average person who's asymptomatic, completely healthy, to have to be wearing a mask based on this mixed evidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Steinmetz. Thank you. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, the most wonderful person, Scottsdale Councilman Guy Phillips. Guy is currently serving his 2nd term in office and is running for his 3rd and final term. Guy is a small business owner and has championed many small business owners in Scottsdale. He has always stood for the little guy and will stand up for your rights. Here he is now, Councilman Guy Phillips. Councilman Guy Phillips.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Insanity. Insanity. I'm going to start with a quote someone just told me from Benjamin Franklin. This is in the 1700s, folks. So they had the same problem. Anyone who would give up his freedom for temporary safety deserves neither liberty nor safety. 250 years later, it's the same thing. Anybody here from Teens for Trump yesterday? Awesome, awesome. Can I see your signs? Hold your signs up. Awesome, awesome. Freedom over fear, I love that. Freedom over fear. So to wear or not to wear, that is the question. You know, I'd happily wear a mask out of respect for my fellow citizen. But when government threatens me with a fine or a possible arrest, if I don't conform, then I protest. It's our right as Americans. We are not in Russia. We are in the USA. We can make our own choice. Whose choice?
Our choice!
Whose choice?
Our choice!
Our choice. The First Amendment allows freedom of expression. By mandating a mask with a citation for noncompliance, the government violates free expression. Had the mandate been for sick only, it would be okay. But since it includes healthy people, it becomes a violation of our rights. There are already attorneys lining up to sue. You know, I need to bring up another topic. This is my Trump caricature. There's an elephant in the room. great big elephant. Giant elephant. I don't know why there's an elephant, but there's an elephant. But no one seems to talk about this elephant. Yet it grows larger every day. It's not in the news, but it's real. It is what these mandates are doing to people's livelihoods. Businesses are closing. Families are being torn apart. Since I began this protest, people are contacting me and asking me, what are they going to do? You can't open your business, but rioters and looters are allowed to ransack them. You can't go to church. Like, you can't go to funerals. You can't go to your child's birth. But it's okay to protest in the streets. You have to be locked in your home for weeks, unless you're going to Walmart or Home Depot. And now we all have to wear masks, or we face fines and even jail time. You know, it is heart-wrenching to me to hear how someone's 40-year business is all but gone. And I get these emails and messages and texts and posts from people every day, and it just tears me apart. People with piles of debt, families ending up homeless. I had a gentleman that called me from Cave Creek. He said, "Sir, I know you're not in my jurisdiction, but I don't know what to do." He said, because of this mandate, I had to call my parents and tell them their children had to wear masks at my daycare. The parents canceled their contracts. They didn't go. This guy is out of business. What kind of a mandate mandates people to go out of business? You know, we can't go on like this. You know, it could be a COVID, it could be a tornado, it could be a volcanic eruption. We need to go on. The idea that this could last another year or two till they get a vaccine, you know, the Pima County supervisors are saying that. This could go for 2 years. Nobody will be in business by then. We'll all be homeless. It's just ridiculous. You know, whoever said life is easy? From the day you're born to the day you die, life is hard. Life is a challenge. We have to be individuals. We have to be strong. That's what America is all about. It's all about individualism. It's not about the collective. As for me, I refuse to bow down to the heavy hand of government. Is that their plan? Put everybody out of business, out of work, and rely on our big brother to save us? You know, they're talking about giving Americans $2,000 a month for that 2 years. Do you want $2,000 a month? Is that going to pay your bills? It doesn't pay my bills. It doesn't even come near it. And then what do you do after 2 years? The money stops, and then you're crying to the government because I've been out of work. Now I need your money. Now I need to depend on you. We cannot rely on government. We must rely on ourselves. That is not being selfish. That is what makes this country great. We are at a crossroads. Are we going to stand tall or cave to a socialist system? What's it going to be? I say stand tall. Stand tall. Okay, so let's be responsible. Let's stand tall and be responsible. We don't need the government to tell us COVID is real. We know it is. Most people are okay. Some get real sick. Sadly, some die. But the government giving out tickets isn't going to help. Education is. I say education, not subjugation. You heard Dr. Steinmetz. He stole my mask thing, by the way. We could put a mask in our pocket or purse. We could wear it at Circle K and then take it off when we get back in the car. Short moments, hygiene, sanitizer, simple things that'll get us back to work, restore our economy and our country. In the next few weeks and even months if need be, my focus will be working with the city to educate the public and our business community so we can be responsible for one another. Not because we are forced to, but because we care for each other. I've already talked to our city manager, and we got funding from the CARES Now Act, $3.5 million, that we're going to use to push and help educate our businesses, our restaurants, our bars, our nightclubs, in the proper use of these uncontrolled devices, whatever you want to call it. We do this because we care, not because we are forced to. You know, I had a lady email me, and in her email she said, Councilman Phillips, you're the most reckless person I know. You don't care about people. You only care about yourself. Why don't you care about, and get this, why don't you care about the common good? Where did you read that? Yeah, Communist Manifesto. We can care for other people because we want to, not because we have to. So I asked the mayor today, Mayor, drop the mandate. Can I hear you say that? Mayor, drop the mandate. I gotta tell you guys are awesome. I mean, you're putting up with this heat because you're standing up for what's right, and I appreciate that. It's amazing. We can do this. I appreciate you. Thank you for all coming out today. We are a resilient society. We can prevail. Can we get a final round of applause for our police? This table is hot. God bless you all. God bless America. Thank you.
Guy Phillips, everyone! Woo! Thank you all for coming. We have two announcements or two things to ask or to request. Is anybody here representing or with the Arizona legislature? Is anybody here? We need their support as well. Michelle, yes, we know, but out in the crowd. Anybody here? Anybody in attendance? Okay, well, also, want to request that if you haven't, that this is very important, if you haven't re-registered for voting, it is extremely important that you do. We have a representative here that will re-register you. A lot of the names have been purged over the years, and you might not be voting in this election. So please, yes, your signature might have changed as well. They're comparing signatures intensely. Now, also, if you can't do it here, if you don't have the time or there's just unable to do it today, please go online and make sure that you're registered to vote. And please also get involved. You are involved here, but please get involved as much as you can. This is very, very important. Woo! Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. And have a great and beautiful week. God bless you all.
Does anybody want to still do a mass burning? Anybody want to do a mass burning? Got my stuff right over here. Burn the masks, not the flag. earth be made to bring forth in one day, or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Shall I bring to the birth and cause not to bring forth, saith the Lord? Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb, saith thy God? Rejoice, ye Jerusalem, and be glad with her. All you that love her, rejoice for joy with her that mourn for her. That ye may sup and be satisfied with the bless of her consolation. The truth can't drive out the truth. Satan can't drive out Satan. The truth can't drive out truth. It doesn't matter what they're ready for. That you may suck and be satisfied. That's going to kill them. Play out. Okay, what's that? I'm going to burn these masks. You should be preaching the word of God with me instead of telling me to stop doing this. Tell them. Why are you high temperature lighter? Then leave me be. Well, I'm going to speak the word of God if you're not going to have Gentiles like a born upon her sides and dandled upon her knees, as one you. All the flags and when you shall see this, your heart shall rejoice. These things are fucking